Hi, this is Josh from Sweet Tree Productions. Today we're going to talk to you a little bit about cells and working with those and kind of maximizing using cells in your programming. So over here on your Titan program, what we're going to do, you're going to select a group. Well, we'll start with this. We're going to select one single fixture, and what I'm going to do is on my console, there's a nice little unfold button that we haven't really messed with before over here in this panel with your record and that kind of stuff. I'm going to click on it, and you're going to see on your Titan program, you're going to come up with selected fixtures. You're going to click on that, and when you do that, we're using the Maverick MK Pixis from Chave. When you do that, you're going to have this window open up in your fixtures window. You're going to see a few different fixtures that you're not really used to seeing. What those are your cells in your Mavericks. So let's see if we can show that up real quick. That's what all of these are, but it's given to you in a way to where you can now rearrange them and do kind of whatever you need to do with them. So if I go through with this, I can click on some different things. If I just want 1, 3, 4, 5 to do, you can see now it's selected there. We went into a little bit of this on our color video, but you can see now I can select a color and record it anywhere. I can turn the intensity up and down, that kind of thing, in the attribute editor, and mess with that if you'd like to. What you can also do with this, though, you can take and you can press move, and you can move some of these around. I'm going to move them around into a way that makes sense for me personally, which is just kind of linear for how the pixels work in the Maverick. And I've messed up there. There we go. And you can see I'm just going through and I'm just moving different things to kind of their order. And there we go. Now it looks like your ring 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on through beam. In this particular fixture, your beam is your 10th cell, and that's just kind of how they designed it. That's the way it's numbered in your fixtures layout here, and that's just kind of what how best works for my brain when I'm programming. And what you can do with this, you can take and you can select all of these, and you can go down here and you can create yourself a group. We're going to call it Maverick 1. And that gives you a little bit, if you're going into your pixel mapper, you can create an effect in it. If you give it yourself a fixture overlay, you can see the cells are all lined up now. You can see if you go in, all of these are here and they're lined up in a nice row, as opposed to, I'll show you what we kind of started dealing with. If you're getting out of this, you'll press your unfold button again and you'll press exit unfold. And so we'll go to, you'll see, we'll do it this way. We'll go into all of these, we'll go to shapes and effect. And just to kind of show you what we started kind of working with this is this kind of little monster here. And if your brain works this way, where you want to zoom out, stretch this little group layout thing out, and move your fixtures around to doing that, that's fine. But when I first saw it, I just couldn't really work with it in any kind of pixel mapping capacity. So you can do it this way, but if you create an effect with this, we'll go back and we'll clear out of that, and we'll open it back up in our pixel mapper. And you can see now it's kind of a mess, especially because I didn't resize my cells there. Oop, wrong button. There we go. I didn't recrop my grid to kind of fit these. It wouldn't really fit in the pixel mapper because of that. So we're going to go back, and you'll see in here, you can work with that if you'd like to, but I like to have things a little bit more organized, a little bit more linear. So what I'll do is I'll go in and I'll click all of these, get out of my pixel mapper stuff real quick by pressing exit. I'll press that unfold button again. I'll go back to selected fixtures, and you can see now it's given me all of these. What you'll want to do before this, you can see we still have this group selected. So before you really start working, you'll want to press clear and deselect those groups, or you'll have the master fixture in here as well, and it'll look like what we're going to have it look like after this, and it'll look like what it did before we even did any of this, and it'll just be very confusing. So what we'll do is I'm going to do the same thing here as I did with just the single fixture, and just kind of move all these into order as how I want them. And you can see you can just click and drag, and we'll have to move the beam as well, and then switch those two around. And you can see now all of my ring 1s match up, all of my ring 2s, 3s, and so on to beam, and they all match up. And you can still do this if you'd like to work with your colors in this way. You can do that. You can go through and you can select, all right, I want 1, 4, I went a little too far, and 8 to be blue. You can still do it that way. You can record colors that way. You can control your individual pixels of your fixture that way, individual cells. You can do that. What it's really useful for me, is to go through, and I've got all these arranged kind of how I want them now. I'm going to create myself another group, and I'm going to name it Mavericks. We'll say pixel mapping, or cells. We'll say cells. That'll be a little easier. And you can see now I've got my Maverick cells, and it includes that Maverick one, which is okay because it's just this first line up here of fixtures. You can see they're all arranged as well from 1 through 6 of the actual fixture, which may be something you have to work with depending on how you've done your groups. It just worked out for me this time. But to do that, again, you can just take and move all of those wherever they need to go. Now you can see my 6/5 fixture is on my 5th line. Get that back to where it was just for now. And you can create individual groups of these cells as well. Say I want a group of the even cells of all these just to have, and we'll save that there as even cells Pixis, if I can type. And it works the same way as having just created a group of different fixtures. You can see I've selected it here, and it's got all of these highlighted like I wanted them to. What this is most useful for me is to go through, and we're going to unfold back out of this. Boop. And what this is most useful for me is to go into the pixel mapper, and we're going to edit group layout first to give us a little, you can see it puts it in this long line. If we go through and we find our different fixtures, and I'll zoom out just to find them a little easier. You can see I'm only highlighting 10 cells because they only have 10 cells. Going through finding all of those and just moving them down. There we go. A little crop grid to make that work a little better, and you can see now they're in a nice little order, kind of like we had them on that fixtures window, and I can work with them well that way. I can clear out of this, exit back out of this, click on that group again, and now my pixel mapper window looks nice and organized. I can do whatever I need to do. You can rearrange them however you want to. You can overlay them. We'll get out of this and get back to our fixtures and groups. Select our group to mess with this. You can overlay them just like you would anything else. If you wanted an all-in-one type effect going on, that kind of thing. And you can mess with that as you will. And do things there. So that's a little bit about cells and kind of what you want to do with them to kind of maximize your time, all the different effects you can do, that kind of thing. And it's a way to do a few other things as far as recording colors, recording maybe positions, recording intensities, that kind of thing, different effects, as you may with using cells. Really useful tool in Titan for us. It's been nice so far that since we've figured out kind of how to use it, and yeah, that's been nice for us. You can, if you still press that unfold button, just as a general idea, you can unfold different groups of fixtures as well, and you can see now I've got that corresponds to those fixtures, that kind of thing. Just another little handy tip that you can use. But yeah, that's about it for cells for today, and thanks for watching, and give us a call if you need anything else.